So you talked about sticky faith and this research project you did called Sticky Faith. Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, what surprised you most about this research?
Yeah. So the reason we developed the term sticky faith is because of the reality of what's happening with young people today, especially young people who graduate from high school youth groups all over the country. If you look at kind of a compilation of the existing data, somewhere between 40 and 50% of high school seniors who are connected with a youth group when they graduate drift from God and the faith community after they graduate. And so we at the Fuller Youth Institute said, we're just not satisfied with that statistic. And so we studied over 500 youth group graduates during their first 3 years of college. I used to say through their junior year of college, but junior year and first 3 years are not always the same thing. So through their first 3 years of college to figure out what can parents do, what can the church do that will build a faith that lasts. And I'll tell you, our sticky faith research, it's changed my parenting, it's changed my understanding of the church, it's changed my view of the gospel. I personally have been transformed so much by our sticky faith research. But you asked what surprised me the most from sticky faith. And I would say probably the role of doubt in a young person's faith development. And, in thinking about doubt, of course, community is so important. Yeah. Here's the research that we saw is that we looked at young people who admitted that they had doubts in high school, and that was about 70% of the youth group seniors that we surveyed admitted to having doubts. If anything, it's a little bit higher than that, but this is self-report. So 70% admitted to having doubts, and that sometimes can freak out adults, youth pastors, youth leaders, parents, etc. But according to our research, we don't have to freak out, because when young people had the opportunity to express and explore their doubts in community, that was actually correlated with greater faith maturity. Or put more simply, it's not doubt that is toxic to faith, it's silence that is toxic to faith. And so, as a parent and in my relationships with young people at our church, I'm constantly trying to figure out how do we build a community such that we feel okay, young people feel okay, I feel okay, raising the tough questions about God and life today. I mean, let's be honest, if we could totally figure out God would not be God. He would just be a really cool guy. Yeah. And so there has to be some element of mystery, some inexplicability to God. So the key is, how do we create a community where it's not only okay, but encouraged to raise those questions?
Yeah. And I think, if we're honest, every single adult probably has experienced a great amount of doubt in their faith.
Yeah.
I think being honest with that is really important for young people. Because in some ways it's they look at adults in the church and say, well, you guys never questioned your faith before. You never had any doubts. This was always so easy for you. And we know that's just not the case. That the journey of faith hits bumps, that our life hits bumps. And we get to these moments where, I don't understand what's happening right now. To be able to say to young people, this was my story. This is where I was at. It may be hard for a parent to say that to their son or daughter, but maybe a leader can do it. Maybe another safe adult in the church can do that as they kind of learn to grow in community together. And so I think those are moments that help young people to know that this is a real journey, that what they're experiencing right now is not wrong, which is what a lot of times they feel, is that they're doing something wrong, that they're failing in their faith. And that's just not true. We know from our own experience that that's not true.